Salmon are an important fish species in freshwater and marine ecosystems. They live mainly in cold waters and are known for their unique spawning migration. They are born in freshwater, mature in the sea, and return to their birthplace to spawn. Common salmon species include Atlantic salmon, Salmon solar, and Pacific salmon, Oncorhynchus spp, each with different biological characteristics and habitats. Salmon not only plays an important role in nature, but is also a nutritious food source. Salmon meat is rich in omega-3, protein, vitamin D, and other important minerals. This makes salmon one of the most popular foods around the world, especially in developed countries. Salmon fishing has existed for thousands of years, especially among indigenous communities in Northern Europe and North America. Ancient fishermen often used nets and spears to catch salmon when they returned to rivers to spawn. Although a later method, cage fishing has also become an effective and sustainable method. The development of the salmon industry began in the 19th century when techniques for preserving salmon by smoking or canning were invented. This made it easier for salmon to be transported and consumed on a global scale. By the 20th century, with the advancement of technology, salmon farming, aquaculture, also flourished, supplementing the supply of salmon from the wild. Cage fishing is one of the most popular and effective methods of catching salmon. This method uses a system of cages or fishing platforms placed where salmon migrate, usually in an estuary or strait. When salmon migrate to spawn, they swim into the cage and are trapped without harming their bodies. This method is not only effective in terms of quantity but also protects the natural habitat of salmon. The cage structure includes a strong mesh system designed so that salmon cannot escape once inside. The cages can be adjusted according to the size and species of salmon to be caught. In addition, modern cages are also equipped with monitoring technologies such as underwater cameras to monitor fish activities. More sustainable than other methods such as large net fishing, because the cages are less harmful to the environment and do not kill fish excessively. Easy to control the number of fish caught and release fish that do not reach the desired size. High initial investment costs, requiring regular technology and maintenance. Highly dependent on location and season, especially when salmon only migrate at a certain time of the year. The salmon fishing and aquaculture industry is now a huge economic value, with a turnover of billions of dollars each year. Salmon is one of the most valuable seafood products, consumed mainly in developed countries such as the United States, Europe, and Japan. Countries such as Norway, Chile, Canada, and Scotland are the leading suppliers of salmon in the world. The salmon market is growing, thanks to the increasing demand for salmon by consumers. Salmon is consumed not only in fresh form, but also in processed products such as smoked salmon, canned salmon, and frozen salmon. The diversity of products and high demand have boosted the value of the salmon industry in the global market. The method of catching salmon using cages and traps can bring significant economic benefits to fishermen and small businesses. This method does not require large operating costs like offshore fishing boats, and is also less labor-intensive than net or line fishing. The use of cage traps also reduces the cost of fish preservation, as the salmon are often caught undamaged, ensuring high quality when brought to market. In addition, this method also helps fishermen optimize resources and time. As they can monitor and control the number of salmon caught more accurately. The initial investment cost for a cage trap system can be quite high, especially for large-sized or technologically advanced traps. However, compared to purchasing boats or other fishing equipment, cage traps are still a cost-effective solution in the long term. Operating a cage trap requires regular maintenance, including checking the trap nets to ensure there is no damage, as well as monitoring the amount of salmon caught to optimize yield. Despite the initial investment, given the high market value of salmon, the profits from using cage traps often outweigh the investment costs. The next section will continue the analysis of salmon commercialization, supply chains, and sustainability factors in the salmon fishing industry. If you would like more detail on any section or have more specific requests, I am happy to continue. The salmon supply chain plays a vital role in ensuring that salmon is transported from the catch to the end consumer in a safe, efficient and quality manner. The main steps in the salmon supply chain include catching or farming, processing and storage, transportation, distribution and retail. Catching or farming. Salmon can be harvested from two main sources, from the wild using methods such as traps, or from salmon farms. Wild salmon is often more expensive due to limited quantity, while farm salmon is easier to control production. Preparation and storage. After the salmon is harvested, they will be processed, washed, gutted, skinned, butchered. This step requires care to avoid spoilage, as the quality of salmon meat is easily affected by temperature and the surrounding environment. Salmon is usually stored at temperatures between -1 and 0 degrees Celsius to maintain freshness. Transportation. Transportation is one of the important factors in the salmon supply chain. Salmon needs to be transported quickly and at the right temperature to ensure quality. Common transportation methods include domestic refrigerated transport and air transport for export. During transportation, salmon can be frozen or maintained in a fresh state. Distribution and retail. After processing and transportation, salmon will be distributed to retailers such as supermarkets, food stores, restaurants, or sold directly through online sales channels. The diversity of salmon products helps expand the market and increase consumption. Salmon is one of the important export items for many countries, especially Norway, Chile, and Scotland. These countries have a strong salmon farming and fishing industry, providing the majority of salmon consumed in the global market. Most salmon is exported as fresh salmon, frozen salmon, and processed salmon products such as smoked or canned salmon. Norway, considered the world's leading salmon exporter, Norway supplies a large amount of salmon to the European and Asian markets. Norwegian salmon is famous for its high quality and distinctive flavor thanks to the clean and cold waters of Northern Europe. Chile. Chile is the second largest exporter of salmon in the world, especially to North America and Asia. Chile's salmon industry has grown strongly in recent decades thanks to favorable natural conditions and supportive government policies. Scotland. Scotland is also one of the countries famous for salmon production and export, mainly to European countries. Scottish salmon is favored for its high-quality meat and sustainable farming methods. Large businesses in the salmon fishing and farming industry play an important role in promoting the development of this industry globally. These companies not only focus on exploiting natural salmon resources but also invest heavily in salmon farming and processing technology, creating high-quality products. Mowi ASA, Norway. Mowi is the world's largest salmon producer, operating in many countries around the world. The company has invested heavily in salmon farming technology and environmental protection measures, becoming one of the prestigious brands in the global market. Leroy Seafood, Norway. Leroy is one of the leading companies in the field of salmon processing and exporting. The company supplies salmon to many major markets, especially Europe and Asia. Marine Harvest, Norway. This is one of the world's largest companies in the aquaculture industry, especially salmon. Marine Harvest not only supplies salmon to the Norwegian market, but also exports to many countries around the world, with a variety of products such as fresh salmon, smoked salmon, and processed salmon. The salmon fishing industry, despite its high economic value, also causes significant impacts on the environment. One of the biggest problems is the overexploitation of wild salmon resources, leading to a decline in salmon populations and affecting the ecological balance. Overexploitation. As the demand for salmon increases, overfishing can cause a decline in wild salmon populations. This not only affects the industry but also other species. In the ecosystem, as salmon is an important food source for many marine animals. Habitat destruction, the construction of hydroelectric dams, deforestation, and industrial development near rivers also reduces the natural habitat area of salmon. Industrial development projects have blocked the natural migration of salmon, reducing their ability to reproduce. To ensure the sustainable development of the salmon fishing industry, many measures have been put in place to protect wild salmon populations and their habitats. International organizations and governments have issued strict regulations to control fishing and encourage the use of sustainable methods. Fish resource management. Fish resource management measures such as